A genius student finds a way to make money by creating innovative methods for his classmates to cheat on exams. That's why today, Bad Genius. If you enjoy the videos, please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and enabling notifications. It's free and really helps me keep growing. Now let's get started. The film begins by informing the audience that the country's most crucial exam takes place annually. In the last evaluation, the general director found that a student cheated. And then we see how those who participated in that evaluation are taken to an interrogation to find out who was responsible. One of the participants is Lynn, one of the best students who, throughout her life, only got high grades and always won awards because of her intelligence. The story begins when she transfers to a prestigious high school on a scholarship. And that's where she meets her friend Grace. Unlike Lynn, she doesn't stand out at school and always needs her friend's help to study. Even during exams, Lynn started helping her by passing her the correct answers. The first time they cheated, they passed the answers using an eraser. Grace soon told her boyfriend Pat about the success. The man proposes that the protagonist assist him and his friends with their studies in return for payment for each subject they pass with her help. So she thinks about it for a bit, but ends up accepting. Because her family needs the money, especially now that she has been transferred to a very expensive school. And while she was playing the piano, she realized that she could give them the answers with the movements she made with her hand. That's how her business started. Since it was successful, other classmates joined her piano lessons. Finally, we meet Link's rival, a genius named Bank. As the top students, they represented their school together in competitions. But they also have to compete against each other to win the scholarships that the school gives them. In one of the exams, a boy approaches Bank to ask him to let him copy his answers, since piano classes are very difficult for him. That's how he discovers the piano code, although he doesn't focus on it initially. During the exam, he realizes that the same boy is trying to copy from Lynn, and he warns her and the teacher about it. But what he doesn't know is that she's actually more worried, because there are two different exams, and she can't give the right answers to everyone. So she only helps those who have the same exam as hers. And since everyone has already paid her, she asks the guy next to her to swap exams so she can have the answers to the other exam. She nearly runs out of time, but luckily helps everyone else pass. The problem is that Bang goes to the principal to tell her about the guy who cheated. And as if that wasn't enough, he also tells her that this guy probably paid her to take the exam for him, since they had also asked him to do it. As punishment, they tell her that she's going to be expelled. Since she's very smart, they will only revoke her current scholarship and bar her from applying for future university scholarships. Despite losing her scholarship, her father is prepared to cover all costs for her to complete the program. Although that doesn't change the fact that he's very angry with her for disappointing him like that. She stops giving her piano lessons. But even so, she still worries about her friends, since all of them need her help to be able to pass. Especially her friend who, when her in-laws started to notice that since Pat started going out with her, her grades improved. They believed she was helping him study and asked her to go to the United States with Pat so they could attend the same university. They even offered to pay all her expenses as long as she keeps helping their son. And this is where we finally get to the stick exam, because to get into that university, Grace has to pass that exam, and for that she needs Link's help. At first, she refuses to do it because it already caused her a lot of trouble. And she doesn't even accept when she finds out they're willing to pay her much more than they said. But when she finds a way to cheat undetected, she accepts. Since if she gets more people, even she will be able to go to the United States with her. Her flawless plan requires Bang to join the team to avoid getting caught, which is its biggest problem. Of course, they don't know that a few days ago some men beat him up and left him in the hospital. Still, more important than that is getting at least 30 people who are willing to pay for the answers. One of his piano students happens to be in a 30-person group preparing for the STIC exam. The next step is for him to explain to his clients how he will provide them with the answers. First, she is going to travel to another country so she can see the questions before everyone else and memorize them to give him the answers. For that, she is going to hide a phone in a bathroom. since the exam is divided into 3 parts with breaks between each section. At those times, she'll take the chance to give him the answers. Her friends will print and attach barcodes to pencils. The line thickness of each barcode corresponds to a specific answer. The next step is to contact Bank. Due to his hospitalization, he was unable to apply for the school's scholarship offer. They use that to their advantage and get him on their team. Once the group is complete, they have to start preparing so that Link and Bang can each memorize half of the exam. And after they have everything ready, the only thing left to do is travel to Sydney and take the exam before they do in Thailand. On the day of the flight, they get together, and we see that what we saw at the beginning of the movie was just part of their practice, in case they get caught, because if that happens, they have to blame Link, since she's the only one who can prove she's really able to take the exam without help and say that Bang has nothing to do with them. To practice, Pat starts saying he only sees Bank at school and that he's just a weirdo. But he unintentionally makes a major error.
I think they beat him up and threw him in a dumpster.
Bank realizes they planned for him to get beaten up, causing him to lose his scholarship. Since he never mentioned the dumpster and nobody knew about it, that ruins the plan since he can't forgive him. And everything gets worse since none of the girls knew that Pat had done that. He justifies his actions, claiming Van likely wouldn't have accepted otherwise. That makes Link not want to go on with everything. But Grace asks him not to get angry since they were really desperate. And if he won't help others, he should at least help his friends. They decline, but as they leave, they encounter Van, who seemingly had a change of heart. Because he realized that if he didn't do that, he probably wouldn't be able to go to college since his scholarship is already lost. That's how they finally go to Sydney and wait until the day of the exam arrives. That same morning, they see that in some countries the test was canceled and security was increased since the answers had been leaked. As expected, this won't deter them, and they'll adhere to the plan as stated. The first part was going perfectly, and Link managed to send all the answers. But when Bang was supposed to send them himself, he preferred to ask to be paid double for being hit. They agree, although they can't give him all the money right away. But they give him enough so that he can send the answers and so they can start printing the barcodes with the answers. Do they manage to do and memorize the second block? But when Lynn goes to the bathroom to look for the cell phone, there's a line of girls waiting to go in. But that's not all. Someone went looking for Bank. After receiving a report about spending excessive time in the bathroom, he deleted the chat containing his response. Due to his nerves, he breaks the toilet lid and can't dispose of the cell phone. And since Lynn went to the bathroom just as it was about to start, a woman searches for her to warn that she must return to the hall. And so she won't get caught, she ends up putting the phone in one of her boots and then in a water dispenser. The last block begins similarly, but this time Bank is absent. And of course, that's not the only problem since she still has to send the previous answers. For that, she creates a way to memorize using the piano again, and she manages to remember all the answers. Although the last step is that she has to find a way to leave before she can send the last answers. To achieve that, she discreetly puts a pencil in her mouth to induce vomiting. She escapes, but the exam guards are already searching for her. And that's not all. Link's father goes with Grace to ask her where his daughter is. She lied to her father about going to a school competition with Bank to travel, but he discovered the fake permission slip at home, and he wanted to know what his daughter was doing. To throw him off, Grace tells him that the real reason for the trip was because she and Bank are dating, and she lied so they could be together. The man believes the lie, but things go really badly for his daughter. To escape, she goes to the subway station, guards still following her. There she buys a cookie and milk to fake continued vomiting. When they catch her, she asks him to go to the place where she took the exam, because the Thai embassy wants to interview the 2 Thai students to make sure she didn't cheat. As the situation escalates, her exam score will be canceled. If it worsens further, she will be banned from retaking the test. Lynn has to wait to be interviewed, but she doesn't have time and needs to get back to her classmates, so the guy signals her to leave. She takes the flight, and when she arrives in her country, her friends welcome her to celebrate. Despite not being in the mood, she and Bank were the only ones who lost in the end. Even so, her friends keep insisting that she should take another exam and keep helping them. But our protagonist wants to change and do things the right way now. They prefer to claim their share of the payment themselves. She tells her father about her activities and focuses on earning a scholarship independently. Meanwhile, Banksy tries to claim his money but finds out he's been expelled from school after the embassy reported the exam incident. He uses the money to buy new equipment for his and his mother's laundry business and a motorcycle for himself. The experience appears to have transformed him, leading him to reach out to Lynn once more, proposing a business collaboration involving a different exam. She declines and gives him the money earned with Stick to prevent him from doing something foolish once more. But it seems that he has already decided to do that to keep making money. He threatens Lynn, saying that if she doesn't help, he'll confess that she planned everything in order to make her accept. They'll likely ban her from studying abroad, just as they did with him. Despite this, Lynn won't change her mind, as it would require her to make peace with him and stop feeling guilty for escaping consequences. Bang keeps telling her that if she lets him confess, it will harm all the students who took part in Stick in Thailand, and above all, it will disappoint her father. But this ends when Lynn herself decides to confess that she cheated during the STIC exam. Even her father supports her for doing the right thing. That was bad genius. Remember to like, comment with movie suggestions for the channel, subscribe, and enable notifications so you don't miss upcoming videos.